So before we get into the pop-out show and the video, since I am following like the timeline of how things kind of unveil themselves, unveil themselves, um, I do have to talk about the Heart Part 6 that was dropped the next day. Drake dropped the Heart Part 6 the next day, May 5th, 2024, and it was obviously a play on the Heart series that Kendrick drops before his albums. And then the cover art was a pic of a comment that Dave Free left on Whitney's pic, and it's just like of the hearts. So he's trying to like tease Kendrick, saying, again, he had mentioned that Kendrick's son was Dave Free's, and that there was something going on between Whitney and Dave Free. If I'm being honest, I did not break this down word for word. It was a terrible song. I can't even stand to listen to it, if I'm being honest. And not even just because, I'm a Kendrick fan, but simply just because it's not a good song. It's terrible. But it's important that I do like point out some of the things that Drake kind of went over in the song. Most of it was nothing new. If anything, he made it worse for himself. So let's get into it. Well, one of the first things that Drake kind of addresses on the song was that he fed Kendrick fake information about the daughter and like the picture that he used on Methograms, saying that it was fake. I don't believe that. Again, Drake has been lying. So I don't believe that. I do think that Drake has some other kids, a daughter, who knows. And I don't think that he fed Kendrick false information. Based on what I know about Kendrick, again, I'm not like his bestie or anything like that, but what I can take from just who he shows up as in person and what we've heard from other people, Kendrick is the type to ensure that there is confirmation on things before putting it out there. So I feel like Kendrick did his research before just throwing things out there. And why would he throw things out there if there was no confirmation on it? So I don't think that Drake did that. I think he just said that because his fans were saying that on Twitter and TikTok and stuff like that while the beef was going on. And we know that Drake is always online. He asked Kendrick why Whitney is following Dave Free and not Mr. Morale, aka Kendrick. He says that Kendrick hasn't seen his kids in 6 months. He brings up Epstein, which, well, he says that it was what he expected, that Kendrick was going to bring it up, which is insane that you would expect someone to call you a pedophile. Like, huh? But it's a Freudian slip here because Kendrick didn't say Epstein, he said Weinstein. And Epstein was prosecuted of for rape of underage women. So Drake, you told on yourself there. Like Weinstein, remember I said younger women. Epstein was actually underage women that he was, you know, charged with. So baby, you're telling on yourself there. He then says that Kendrick was on TikTok, like watching us, and other people break down videos and like dissect videos about Drake being with minors. There's someone on here, Becca Day, who I love. She does a lot of breakdowns on celebrities. And so we were on here like dissecting the weirdo behavior of Drake. But Drake, how would you know that if you weren't on TikTok? And we know that Kendrick is not on the internet. He knows what we're talking about. I'm sure like people have sent him stuff and, things like that, but he's also in the industry. He knows what you're doing. So why would he need to be on TikTok? He mentions Mother I from Mr. Morale. Um Basically it's a song on Kendrick's album Mother I Sober, and it talks about Kendrick's mom being sexually abused. And he says in the song the reason why he like keeps bringing it up is because he was molested, but literally in the song Kendrick says it wasn't him, that he wasn't, that it was his mom. So Drake, you weren't listening or you didn't understand. He says if I was messing with underage girls I would have been arrested because he's too famous. Baby, what? Doesn't even make sense. We know that people are shielded from, going to court, things like that, because they are famous. Look at Diddy. Look at how long he was able to get away from all of the stuff he did. And I know I keep bringing him up, but it's literally parallel things. And he was able to get away with all of that because he's famous, because he has connections, because he has money. So that don't even make sense. But like, why would you say if I was? Again, you're telling on yourself. You mention, he says, you mention A minor when ends gotta B sharp, which is another chord reference. You know how Kendrick was talking about A minor. But um, B sharp is also basically another note. It's like another C note. So, I mean, he tried it, but it don't really matter there. Like, it didn't really fit there. You thought you left D flat, D major. So, the D could be in reference towards Drake, but it could also be in reference towards, his genitals. D flat meaning that he's not hard. Um, and then obviously D major. He's erect, but also it kind of sounds like D major. So he's trying to say that he was the one that brought Kendrick up, and he was the one that put Kendrick on. He made Kendrick. Another line, only effing with Whitney's, no Millie Bobby Browns, which is crazy because Kendrick never said any specific name about any minors that he was talking to. He just stated that he was talking to minors, but clearly Drake has been online and knows that we were able to connect the dots between him and Millie. So again, you're telling on yourself, babes. Accuses Kendrick of buying bots for his songs and comments, because there was 2.3 million views in under 13 hours on Not Like Us. And I'm pretty sure that wasn't the bots, babes. Like, everybody was going to see that song to hear it. Everybody was talking about it. Like, those were real views. References Kendrick saying his music would be deleted from Spotify if they deleted R. Kelly's music after, his case, which there was like this whole debacle after R. Kelly was accused guilty, or accused guilty, was charged with his charges. And like, they were saying that they were going to take off abusers' music from streaming services. And this was confirmed that it was someone from TDE, not Kendrick specifically. And they weren't saying to, like, it was wrong or that they would take their music off if they took R. Kelly's music off. They were pointing out how the list of artists that Spotify had said they were going to take off were all people of color or like hip hop R&B artists, and not any other artists who maybe like rock, pop, alternative, like other genres where there's plenty of abusers. That's what they were pointing out, not that they were mad because they were taking down R. Kelly's music. He tells Whitney to like hit him up basically, and he'll hit back softer. Again, another play on Kendrick being a wife beater, and again, bringing someone else's woman into the picture, trying to get in between a family. And lastly, he goes on a rant at the end, which is very reminiscent of Nicki at the end of Good Foot. I am a barb, so I'm not going to get into my thoughts on that. But yeah, Drake, sounds like you were going a little crazy there. You're spiraling. And those were pretty much like the big things from that song. Like I said, I did not put every lyric on here. It's literally just notes because, girl, no, I'm not doing it. It was really, really, really bad. The pop out show. um I'm going to tell the story again, even though I've mentioned it 3 times already. It's still just like the coolest thing that's happened to me this year. I mean, not the coolest thing, but like one of the coolest things. So, Monday night, the week of Juneteenth, Monday night, I had a dream about, well, I had a dream, and in the dream, I was fully conscious. I was able to control my dream. And there was one part where I ended up at a Kendrick concert. And that one part was the only part that I could not control of the dream. And I was super close to Kendrick, like to the point where I could feel the sweat from him on me. And I was like trying to say something to him, like tell him something. But the more that I tried to talk, the more that like I started, like my voice went away. Um, and then eventually, like it just cut out and I woke up. And I was like, what the heck? Like, that's so weird that I had like a dream about Kendrick. But obviously, during that time, I was deep in the beef. Like, had the songs on repeat. I was breaking down like how I have now. I was doing that back then too. So I was just deep in it. So I'm like, maybe, subconsciously, like my brain just was dreaming about Kendrick. Next day, Tuesday night, I have another dream that I'm at a Kendrick concert. And this time it wasn't like a concert, it was a show. He put on like the show, and there was like, it was under like a blue light. Like I could see him on stage, like under a blue light. And at the end of the show, he did like this symbolic thing. He gets shot and he like falls into a pool. And as he's floating down into the pool, there's like blood coming up and the pool turns all red. And it was supposed to be like the symbolic thing. And during it, like, I think either I freaked out or someone next to me freaked out and thought that it was like real. And everybody was like, oh my gosh, Kendrick, Kendrick. Like, and then I woke up and I'm like, bro, this is two dreams in a row that I've had of a Kendrick concert. The next day, Wednesday, I wake up to a post from Kendrick announcing the pop out show. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I just had back to back dreams that I was at a Kendrick show, and now he's putting on a show. I am still so sad that I was not able to make it, but he did stream it on Amazon Prime for free. So, I was sat waiting because I needed to see if what I saw was the same thing. Like, what I saw in my dream was what was going to happen. And, like, so crazy. I'm going to put a clip here of what I saw in my dream because you know how in the show there's like lights going back and forth between red and blue. The blue part was what I saw, and the guy that I got the video from, he's like as close as I was in the dream. So I don't know, I just thought that was crazy. I don't know who was sending me messages in my dreams, but please keep doing that because that was so cool. Let's get into it. So as I mentioned, the pop-out show was on Juneteenth. Which is in significance because that is, basically our Fourth of July Independence Day. And so not only was Kendrick giving us just a show, but he specifically did it on Juneteenth for us to celebrate together. And again, kind of teasing Drake of you're not from the culture, and it was just so special. Like I went to my friend's house and all of us like gathered for Juneteenth and we had it streaming and it was like, a little backyard barbecue. Just being around like my friends. I don't know. I'm a really emotional person and I often think about things a little bit deeper than surface level. And so I was just really emotional the whole day, like to be able to be with my friends, to celebrate our freedom and, while dancing and and being able to diss someone who tried to disrespect the culture. Um, it was just super special to me and it meant a lot. So, the show starts off with DJ Head, who is a DJ from LA, and he brings out like a bunch of up and coming LA artists. Some of them I've heard of and like listened to a few of their songs, some of them never heard of. But the artist he brought out was Remble, which I had heard of, Ray Vaughn, which I had also heard of, who's signed to TDE, Cuzzos, which is a women rap group that I didn't know about, but they were really good, so I checked them out and I like them. Ruchi and Az Cheek. I don't know how you say that, but never heard of them. Jay Worthy and the Whoops. I never heard of them. Wally the Sensei, haven't heard. West Side Boogie, I had heard of. Zoe Osama or Zoe Osama, I never heard of. Caitlin For Real and G Perico, I had heard of and heard some of their songs. Bino, I love Bino. The Blue Buck Clan, I'd never heard of them, but that's a clever name. RJ Mr. LA, never heard of. OGZ, I had heard of. Jason Martin, I had heard of. And 310 Baby, I had heard of. So these were all like up and coming LA artists, and it was just kind of cool to start that off and highlight, the talent that's in LA, um, and just like the culture. And then at the end of DJ Head's set, he brings out Tommy the Clown and his dancers. This had a lot of significance because Tommy the Clown has used the art of dance to help the community. You know, dance is a way that you're able to express yourself and kind of get those emotions out. And he uses dance to help keep, the kids off the streets so that they have somewhere to be, something to do. But it also helps them kind of get that anger out, get, whatever emotions that they're experiencing, get that out instead of turning to drugs to do that or to numb the pain, instead of being on the streets where it's easy to get wrapped up, in criminal things and stuff like that.
God gave me a chance to go from selling drugs to jail and getting out. So I have to become this positive person. And our mission is to encourage kids to get off drugs, gangs, and a negative part of life and become something positive, no matter what it is. And we use this dance form to grab kids that dance, that love this type of freestyle.
And that's just something that I love. I'm a dancer, and dance has always been my outlet to, express myself. And dance has changed my life, like literally saved me at times. And so I think that it's just really special that Tommy the Clown, has kind of dedicated his legacy to doing that. But specifically, he had his battle, what's it called? Battle Zone at the Forum, which is where the show was held. And the Forum is an LA staple venue. Like, it has some of the most iconic like people who have performed there, events that have happened there. And so it's also significant that Kendrick had it at the Forum. Um, but in the movie Rise, or it's kind of like a documentary in a way that follows the story of Tommy the Clown, the battle zone is at the Forum. And Tommy the Clown kind of talks about that at the pop out show. And then he has like the dancers, do their dance, which was so cool. Like, I just was in awe the whole time. And the little boy that like dances was so cute and he was so good. I was like, dang, that's crazy.
Man, it's been about 20 years since I had Battle Zone at this same place. Who's in the building? Is Compton in the building?
Let me see you.
Tommy the Clown also announces that the next Battle Zone battle was going to be June 29th at Centennial High School, which is the high school that the game had in the 100 video with him and Drake. And remember, I had kind of like nodded back then that this would come up again. So it's pretty, it's a significant place, high school in LA. And I just thought that was really interesting. After DJ Head's set, we get DJ Mustard, who is also a DJ from LA. And DJ Mustard brings out Blast, Ty Dolla $ign, Dom Kennedy, Steve Lacy, Tyler the Creator, Roddy Ricch, YG. And there's a few significant things here. So him bringing out Steve Lacy and Tyler the Creator was such a huge thing because both of them have come out that they are both bi. And we know that in the Black community and in the hip hop community and rap specifically, it's not really common or accepted for people to be out and open that they are part of the community. And so this was Kendrick kind of, saying, we're not going to judge you for how you identify. And even at the end, when I'm like getting goosebumps, even at the end, when Kendrick brings out everybody up and you can see like Steve and Tyler. Well, I don't know if Tyler comes back up. I think he does. But like Steve Lacy's like dancing with all the gangsters and stuff. And I just thought that was really cool to see how far we've come as a community, and just to see that they were accepted and just like able to kind of party with, people who may have not been so accepting of who they are. And I don't know, that was just really cool. When Mustard brings out YG, he also talks about how him and YG used to live across the street from the forum, and when they were making music, like they would always just talk about how like one day they wanted to perform there. And so I thought that was just a really cool story to hear, like how far they've come and that they were able to like be there again. I know that it's really cool as someone who's on the spectrum to be able to feel things so deeply sometimes, because of things like this. Like I feel it in a different type of way. Sometimes it's very overwhelming and annoying, but I know that I can get very like and then we get into Kendrick. And first thing to note, Kendrick is wearing a similar fit that Tupac wore um in the at the Source Awards in 1994. And so he's kind of paying, homage to Tupac here. And then he does a tribute to Nipsey Hussle, which was really special. And he'll like bring it up again at the end of the thing. I also want to point out is the whole time he's rapping, like there's no backtrack. Like, you know how some rappers will have a backtrack playing in the background so you can hear like the background lyrics if they need to like take a break. There's no backtrack. Kendrick is straight rapping and he doesn't take no breaks for water. So I just know like that's some strong like voice control that you have to be able to rap that fast. And not that he's like a super fast rapper, but still to be moving around like that because he was hitting his little jig. um and to like not get water, all of that, like that's crazy. But he starts off with Euphoria, and in Euphoria he changes the lyrics to give me the ring back and I might give you some respect. We can be on a 2 hour time difference instead of a 3 hour time difference. To again, because around that time, I think the time had changed. So it was 2 hours instead of 3 hours. And then um, he says honoring discipline in the part where he's talking about uh, praying with the kids. And that was different than the original lyrics. So I thought that was interesting too. But it's just crazy that like literally as he's performing, he's changing the lyrics to directly talk to Drake. And then the lineup of songs was DNA. And these songs all were disses or tracks that like, you know, we kind of used to celebrate us. So it was DNA, Element, All Right, Swimming Pools, Money Trees with J Rock, Win, King's Dead, 616 in LA with Ab Soul. And then I put in this part, like, I thought it was really special that Kendrick was kind of helping Ab Soul around the stage. Ab Soul attempted to commit suicide. He jumped off, it was an overpass, I think, and a car saved him. And so, he's had issues since then. And I think it was just really special to see like Kendrick being able to be up there with him and just showing him love and help him. I don't know. Again, I was just emotional. And then Schoolboy Q comes out and they have like a little black hippie reunion on stage, which again was just like my heart. He does collard greens with Schoolboy Q, that part, and then King Kunta, Mad City, Humble, like that. And on the bum part, each time he said bum, there was like little sparklers, and it was like a pop that happened, and I don't know, it was just added effects, you know. And then Dr. Dre comes out and does California Love and Still Dre. And then he introduces Not Like Us. And Kendrick proceeds to play it 5 times over and over. And like he pauses on the A minor part and we get the little dance that he does. And I just love watching his little jigs. It's something about LA men and their swagger. Um, but during like as he's playing the song in between, he's kind of like saying, he says, "You're not gonna let anyone disrespect the West Coast and its legends, right?" And he's like talking to the audience. And I was just at home like, yes. And then on the last Not Like Us that he plays, he has literally everybody come on stage that was a part of the show. And then he brings up like Russell Westbrook, DeMar DeRozan, some other things to point out, like LeBron James was there, Whitney and his family was there. So this is like all showing that Kendrick has all of these people on his side, you know, backing him up. And when he brings up everybody on stage, I'm guessing this part was what I saw in my dream, how he was like, how he fell in the pool. It was just symbolism for this part because he brings up people from multiple different gangs in LA who are normally like rivals, you know, and normally it would be dangerous or, you know, not peaceful to do that. But Kendrick was able to get them together and be peaceful and just celebrate as one. And it was just such a historical moment. I can't believe that like I'm alive for this. I got to see it with my eyes. Um Again, I was like, wow, this is crazy. I could not wait to get people's reactions and like come on like TikTok and just see how people were like, some people like went live, some people had live reactions or like were putting out videos right after just like talking about their experience, and it just like, you know, got me hype again. Um but it was just, that's just so special like to be able to get gangs together and, you know, come together for one cause. And like I said, Kendrick mentions how LA's been kind of messed up since Nipsey Hussle and Kobe Bryant died. And he, you know, gets emotional and he says like, you know, this was made from peace and clearly love for the city and love for the people. And I hope moving forward, you know, we're able to see more of that community and coming together because we are easily controlled the more that we fight each other and the more that we are separated as a community. But if we come together, you know, we can do some things. So, where do we go from here? Where does Drake go from here? Where does Kendrick go from here? First, I want to say again, thank you guys for watching these, for following along the journey with me, for literally following me if you're new here. To be honest, I was really nervous to be posting these, and like this last week, I was so close to deleting everything. But I've had people like reach out to me separately and tell me to keep doing these videos and like how much they enjoy them. And that just means a lot to me, even if it's only like one or two people, because I tend to second guess myself a lot. Um, and I started this because my mom's friend, like really good friend who I consider my aunt, she, when all of this kind of like started blowing up, she was new to Kendrick and new to like the lore of the beef. And so she was like talking with me as things were rolling up, and I was just kind of like explaining things to her. And I figured like, oh, and she ended up asking like, what are some good songs to put on her playlist for Kendrick and stuff. And so I was like kind of going through everything. And I also wanted to have my own little like archive of this. That's why I like printed everything out and annotated it on paper, because I wanted to be able to go back, years in the future and open this book and be able to, relive it again and share with my siblings and everything. So that's kind of why I started these, and I just appreciate all of the positivity. You guys have been so respectful to me. I know that, like I mentioned earlier, I'm a bit uncultured in some aspects. So I am also learning through this, and I've always respected, hip hop and rap, and wanted to study it in college, but didn't get the chance to. So this is kind of like my way of doing that, and like I said, I appreciate all the tidbits that you guys give me, the information that you give me in the comments and stuff like that. And overall, just like I said, being really respectful to me, I appreciate it. Y'all are the best. Wanted to get that disclaimer out. Back to where do we go from here? Obviously, we see that Drake has been dropping nonstop, um, trying to just see like where to go from here. I think personally that Drake needs to take a break, like stop posting altogether, go silent, and I think he should work on himself. Do I think he's going to do that? No. But he should do that and work on himself and, spend time just trying to like get that creativity back, because right now he's just dropping things just to drop them. They're not good, they're not creative, nothing. Like they might have a good tune to them, but that's it. And so it's not going to stick. It's not going to stay with people. As far as Kendrick, I think that he is going to drop on Drake's birthday, because Drake dropped Honestly Nevermind on his birthday. Either that or on Halloween to be the official boogeyman. But sometime in October, he's for sure, I think that he's going to drop. Um, and I think that this next album is going to be, I think we're going to get, some commercial songs, but I think he's going to maybe do some more storytelling just about how we got to this point in the culture. Although he's like kind of already been talking about that in his music. He might maybe talk about like how we can move forward and kind of take the power back in his new album. I don't know. I'm really interested to see what this will be and what we'll get. For the new Kendrick fans, welcome. I hope that you guys stick around. I'm not leaving you guys. I'm going to go back to the beginning of Kendrick and his albums and break those down. So I hope you guys stay with me. I also, after I do that, I want to break down some other albums that I love, artists that I love. I am an R&B soul girly, so we will be getting into some R&B and soul. But if you guys have an album that you love that you would want me to break down, let me know. I love listening to new music, or I might know it, and I would love to do it. Like I said, this keeps me busy, and honestly, it gives me joy, just to come on here and like share the knowledge that I know, share the knowledge that I've learned, and just be a nerd, to be honest. um, but I think like the to summarize the end of the beef, I finally watched FD Signifier's 3-hour video kind of summarizing this. I wanted to wait till I was done so that I wouldn't have any like influence from him and his ideas, but it was really really good. I like how he gave the history, and as an OG, like obviously I was alive during the OG eras, but well, I was born in 1997, so not OG, but although I was alive, I just wasn't paying attention slash don't remember a lot of the stuff, and so it was just kind of cool to see someone who lived through the OG stuff kind of talk about it and history, and then kind of summarize. Um, I agree with his like summary of the overall thesis of this was to bring back integrity into the rap game and hip hop, to bring back the culture and you know just like the nitty gritty of why hip hop was started in the first place, and um just to kind of, like I said, reveal how it's changed in the industry. And we see the aftermath of that and the consequences of that now. So it'll be interesting to see where hip hop goes and how it changes from here. I put here, like, I part of me kind of feels bad for Drake because he has allowed his ego to get him to this place. And like I can empathize with wanting to fit in, with wanting to just be loved and accepted as someone who, is a bit different and didn't know that, or didn't know the reason why I was so weird and different and always the point of laughter um in groups and stuff. Like I empathize with that. I've always wanted to just be accepted for me and loved for me. But part of me also, I don't care because Drake has, he's just has really bad morals and hasn't done anything to fix that. I do believe that people can change and people can grow. And so if Drake takes the time to do that, maybe we can reevaluate. But I just don't know, with all of the allegations and the things that he's done outside of just the hip hop and rap industry, I don't think that I would be able to like accept and kind of listen to him like that, his new stuff at least. So yeah, like I said, next I will be diving into Section 80. It'll be in a few days because I'm gonna be celebrating my birthday. So probably after that I'll do it. And yeah, I'm excited.